back to A Well-Designed Business. My name is LuAnn Nigara, and I'm so glad you found this podcast. Together with my husband Vince and our partner Bill, we have grown our company WindowWorks from the ground up. So I know and I understand the challenges you face in running your interior design business. I also know that your talent alone isn't enough to ensure your success. So on this podcast, we talk about strategies and practical steps to help you grow your business. But make no mistake about it, we have our share of fun here too, mixed in with those aha moments that I love so much. This isn't fluff. Nobody has time for that. Whether you are a new interior designer or a seasoned designer, I am here to help you create and to manage the kind of interior design firm that you dream of. It's straight talk and it's action. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hi, welcome to A Well-Designed Business. Power Talk Friday is sponsored today by 4D Biz. We had Evelyn Roberts and Shayna Pellino of 4D Biz on the podcast last year to talk about the virtual assistant team division of their company and how it supports your interior design business in marketing, admin, and design. After that episode, your response to them and their business was pretty fabulous, so I'm excited to have them back on to talk about another service they offer, executive level support. Have you ever had a project where everything went smoothly every step of the way, but the next project didn't go smoothly? You know, when that happens, it's because your process is not documented. And therefore, you kind of did it the same, but just different enough that it impacted the client experience negatively. Not to mention your experience and enjoyment of your work. You didn't even realize you didn't follow the same process until it went sideways, probably, right? This is where 4D Biz's executive team comes in. Shayna and Evelyn help you develop a solid foundation that's personalized to your company, effective, and consistent so that each time you can deliver. And they align this with your marketing efforts towards your ideal client. They call it the PPC, the pitch, the presentation, and the close. Shayna is the CEO and founder of Shayna Rose Interiors and 4D Biz. Shayna never anticipated establishing a modern business plan that would revolutionize the way you do business. In 2019, 4D Biz was founded on her own personal experiences, mistakes, and achievements, and needs as an interior designer. Evelyn Roberts is the co-founder and the chief marketing officer of 4D Biz. Evelyn joined Shayna Rose Interiors in 2019 after 4 years of digital marketing experience for small businesses and tech startups. Since then, she has concentrated solely on marketing for interior designers. Evelyn's approach to marketing in the interior design industry is less is more. She understands the hectic lifestyle that you have as a designer, and she helps you focus on marketing strategies that will make measurable progress towards your most important company goals while remaining within your budget. Evelyn and Shayna come together to help you grow your bank account and focus on what you do best in your business, which is design. Let's learn about the 4D Biz executive team. All righty, we've got 4D Biz in the house. Hello, ladies. Hi, Evelyn. Hi, Shayna. How are you? Welcome back to A Well-Designed Business.
Thank you. Hi, LuAnn. Thank you so much for having us back. This is Evelyn with 4D Biz.
Hi, this is Shayna here. So happy to be back, LuAnn. It's nice to be here.
Yeah, so here's the thing. You guys were on the show a while back. We're going to put the episode in the show notes. Absolutely. You must go back and listen to that episode. First of all, we found out what rock stars these two ladies are, and we found out how important they are to interior design businesses because they do all the nudgy stuff in the background that you guys hate doing. Like, believe me, I wouldn't want to do it either. The thing is, on that particular episode, we concentrated the conversation, for the most part, on the division of their company that is what they call the virtual assistant team. And they have virtual assistants that support you in your design firm in the areas of marketing, administration, and design. And we did talk about their other division, which is the executive team, but we didn't spend as much time on that. So today, that's what we're going to do. We're going to concentrate on the services that they offer at the executive team level. And, don't not listen to the other show though, because it really is two sides of the same quarter and you need to understand all of it. So, ladies, who wants to get me started on just like what is the executive division of your team? What does that mean and what does it entail?
Totally. I'll get started and then Shayna here, and then I think Evelyn can chime into some of this. Um, the working with the executive team is really truly focused on the foundation of your business. And whether you're just getting started or whether you've been in business for 25 years, a lot of this foundational process is not implemented into the business. And what I mean by the foundation is having a very clear sales journey that is automated from your discovery call through your consultation, through your close to your full contract, streamlining that sales process and having that connected to your marketing machine, which I think Evelyn can kind of speak to where that close can kind of transfer into.
Yeah, absolutely. This is Evelyn, and I would just love to add going back. Shayna always starts big picture, but really, really specifically, what that executive team looks like is a fractional COO, Chief Operating Officer for your business, and a fractional CMO, Chief Marketing Officer for your business. So starting there, just so there's that level of understanding. And then, yes, working with us on that foundation, making sure that you have the tools that you need to really grow in a sustainable and profitable way.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is it's almost like putting the brakes on the business for a little bit, like whether, like you said, I might be in business 10, 15, 20 years, and I've never really done this. I just got started. I started selling jobs. I started designing jobs. I started installing jobs. And then another one came, and then another one came, and then another one came. And it is so typical, not just for the interior design industry, by the way, but for many businesses, but so typical that there you are. You find yourself in business 1 minute or 25 years and that foundational part was never addressed and it's not too late to address it, right?
Totally. Yeah. And, if you're there, this is someone who, you're not exactly sure how to close at all, or what do I give my client, what questionnaires, what process, what journey. I feel like I'm just throwing them information, is actually a direct quote from someone who started working with us. Or it's just like, I don't know, it happens all different ways. I have all these different documents, I don't even know when to send them. And that's really what it becomes. What is your client's experience when they first get started with you? And that system should be systematic. It should be the same every single time. And in addition to that, there's so much manual pushing of things that have to get done that there is technology. Instead of paying someone to help you with that process, there is technology that can automate that journey for you in still a very personalized and customized way, but it's just helping push the paper, right? It's also helping you abide by the process. And if you're not strong in sales, if you don't have that, innate ability to be the salesman, which as a business owner, that's who we are. That's what it
Right.
is. But you are killer at your skill. You're just crazy talented. It's the first part of this close that we need to get you past so that you can prove that crazy skill and crazy talent, which will grow the business. But I call it the PPC, the pitch, the presentation, the close. That's got to be so refined and so
Mm.
clear that that client has that instant trust where they're going to send over that $20,000 retainer within this journey without question, without problem. And they're super excited to work with you. Then you go prove your skill. Then you go prove your talent. And then your referrals start rolling in, and we'll get to the internal processes that come next with that growth. But that's the foundation that we're talking about.
And that really is Shayna's superpower, I would say, in terms of why she makes such a great fractional COO is she's not telling you one way that this system should run. She's getting to know you as a designer, as a business owner, and helping you figure out your unique process based on your skills, your services that you offer, your ideal client. She's not just selling you something to go, you know, plug in for your business.
Yes.
And then on the
Yes.
like the other side of the brain, on my side, what deliverables do we need? How do we make sure that they're branded? How do we make sure that they're speaking to your target client and showcasing your business as that high end, high ticket service that you want it to be? I think between our two types of intelligence and the way that we work through things, we're a really great partnership in that way. She'll help you look at it on the level from the lens of you as the business owner, and I help you look at it from the lens of your client.
Yeah. Don't
I
ask
love
me
that.
touch the technology. If you don't want me touching your technology, I'm not
No.
coding anything.
Okay. So if I break it down, what I'm hearing is whether I'm brand new and I want to get started on the right foot or I'm many years in, it is working with your executive level team services. So in the case of Shayna as the COO, it's almost like I'm visualizing there's a mental download of this is the ideal of the way I would like my client journey to be. This is the ideal. This is the way I picture that first conversation, how it happens, how, what I say, and this is the deliverable from it. And then this is the ideal of how the presentation is done. And this is the ideal of how I close it and when the contract comes and all the things. And it's like, but maybe I have not slowed the train long enough to document it and to really clarify it so that when I did it one way, it went really well. But then when I did it the second time or the 15th time or the 4,000th time, I forgot the other part. And then that created a misstep because the thing is, when we forget the foundational stuff, it rears its head throughout the project, throughout the months, right? Something comes back to something wasn't described, something wasn't disclosed, something wasn't explained. And I know what happens as fairly seasoned business owners when that happens. We're like, and it's not like I didn't know that. It's not like I didn't know that. It's not like I didn't tell the last 3 clients that this la 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 was going to happen. I just forgot it with this one.
Right.
So what I'm hearing is there's a work together with you, Shayna, that we clarify this process. And then we work with Evelyn to take advantage of automating anything in that process that can be automated. But because you have that marketing brain, I love the way you described it. Shayna is taking it from your point of view. You're taking it from the consumer point of view. What's going to look pretty? Where is that logo going? How is the ease of use for the,
what question am I still asking?
Right.
Like, does your client know what turnkey means, or do they really not care? Like,
I
that's your
know.
language. I'm not saying
God,
one is right or
hate
wrong,
that.
but just having those two different those two different thought processes put to every email that's being sent, every client deliverable is going to make it so much
Right.
stronger.
And I think
It's so true. That's like in our business, I'm like, oh, see, we're so close to it. We forgot what we knew so easily. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like we just had it with an email that went out. And I wrote the damn email, the sales email. I wrote the email and it went out, and then I saw it in my inbox on Monday and I read it and I was like, yeah, it took me to the third line to explain what the heck we were talking about. I'm like, pull it back. It's out there in the world now. But when we, plagiarize ourselves and we send out it again in 6 more months, let's revise it. You know what I mean?
I think that Evelyn's superpower as well is not just how you're saying it, right? How does it get integrated with all of the technology that you have, right? How is your website connected with your automated client journey, and how is that automated client journey connected to your project management software, right? And so that's the complexity of the foundation. And what I always like to talk about it's that process that closes you. And for many listeners, I mean, how many people have been burned, or I like to use the word crook, like crooked, you got sold on something. I mean, the sale of that process was just, you couldn't say no. You're like, this is a no-brainer, right? I signed the
Right.
contract. I mean, we have a crazy story we could share about this, just the one of last year. But you're excited, you close. That process was a no-brainer. You get started, and womp womp, crickets,
Yeah.
nothing happens. You're waiting on everything that they promised you, right? And nothing. You can't get out of the contract. That's the worst ones that happen. But just last year, we thought that maybe we could go and scale beyond. We were testing our marketing dollars. So we said, you know what? We had this crazy presentation. A third-party marketing company showed us data that me and Evelyn legitimately sat on a call with a glass of wine. And I will never forget what Evelyn said to me. She was like, even if they do a fraction of what they showed us, we're still going to kill it. And here
And
we
it's
are.
worth the investment, right?
We're like, before we sign the contract, we're toasting $20,000 I sent over. This is how much this presentation was just, wow. 2-part close, visuals, specific data. Everyone loves data. I love data. I'm like, oh, this is great. 3 months went by, $0 of ROI. In fact, our marketing scaled down because they took over channels that were working and said, oh, no, we're going to take this over. Don't touch this anymore. I mean, lots of lessons learned. One thing I'll say is, as you continue to grow, the learning curve never stops. That train never stops rolling. You get to a growth marker, a new challenge comes up. If someone comes back to me and's like, I need your support, I am saying, congratulations. We're literally on this call because we're at the next growth marker. We need to implement another fraction of this foundation, another element to the foundation as you scale up. But it's the journey. It's the client journey. It's going back to the foundation of what are we showing them? How are we closing them? How is that all connected and automated? Whether it's connecting a webhook from your website, from your client intake form that spits out and automatically fires out a preliminary questionnaire so you can be educated on your discovery call, either automates the scheduling or delegates that scheduling to an assistant to say, hey, call them, we're ready to schedule the call. Then after that call, it's programmed to fire out, a welcome packet with a consultation, for an on-home visit that they can pay, click, schedule, push that forward, and whatever process and journey that follows in between. If they don't pay, it's automatic, it could be programmed to follow up 3 times with them. And then after the 3rd time, maybe it emails you or the admin to say, hey, call them. They never closed, right? It's your automatic reminder system, your automatic process system. You don't have to worry that your client doesn't understand your journey, your process, hasn't seen your work. We are forcing it in front of them and forcing you to abide by this PPC, your pitch presentation close. And so
and let me jump in really quick because I can feel some people who are listening start to clench and sit and lean back because they're so scared of automation, of feeling like a robot. It's not going to be me. What if this fires? But the human element, that's why, we need both sides, looking at it as the client, making sure it's authentic, making sure it's true to your voice and your brand. We're going to worry about all that too. But the number of designers who I've talked to, okay, let's just start to think this through. The new inquiry comes in. What's the first thing that happens? Well, then I write an email. Okay, what email? Is there a template somewhere? No, they're rewriting this email every single time. Spending let's call it 7 minutes. I think a lot of designers, then they reread, Shayna would spend 20. Let's just be honest.
Yeah, let's be honest.
And that is just not necessary. Foundationally speaking, we can do better than that. You know what I mean? And that's just all there is to it. Continuing to iterate.
And the thing is, we do need help in that process because number one, if we don't have the technical skills to do it, number two, if we haven't defined what our actual process is, that's number one. If we haven't defined our actual process, it's so much easier often to have somebody sit by us. And like I said earlier, take the mental download of our information and then sit by us and go, oh, so this is how you do it. Let me help you document it. And then, that other, it's funny because I was just on a coaching call the other day with one of my chairman of the boards. And I was like, I'm telling you to do this. And what I'm saying is it should be all automated. Like, I know. And I'm like, I don't know where you're at right now as far as making an investment in doing this type of thing. I said, but even if it's not now, at some point, by the time we're done this year, we have to address figuring out who's going to do the technical with you to do this automation, because it is just a waste of time to do the same thing over and over. I mean, even with the podcast, I have people that I meet at markets, or they come in my Instagram DM, or they send me an actual email and they're like, hey, we talked to market. You mentioned I could be on your show. It's like, right, click the I want to be on the show button, sweetie. Like, because that triggers everything. That triggers, the Q&A that you're going to fill out. It's going to trigger the Acuity link. It's going to trigger, the information that comes with what kind of headset you need. Like, when you do it with me, we're both going to forget 50% of the stuff. I haven't done it, backdoor with somebody in 7.5 years. It's like,
Right.
no.
Right.
But what happens is, to your point, Shayna, when this is done well, this creates that foundation for a well-run business. And to your point, Evelyn, it can be done in a way that feels good. It doesn't have to feel like this is a robot, this is a machine, this is a computer that's communicating with me. I mean, not for nothing, but, I know it to be true, and it's funny because sometimes you have to ask designers to put themselves in the position of the consumer. And as business owners, we get protective. To your point, Evelyn, we say, oh, that's not personal enough. This is high touch, right? But what's so funny is, during Lu University launch 2 months ago, I don't know why. I never got to the bottom of it. Mariali gets to the bottom of it for me. But I saw an email that was like, I just paid, but nothing happened. I just paid, but nothing happened. Now, something should happen. It should be like, thanks so much. Welcome to Lu University. It's going to be awesome, right? But that's just it. As a consumer, you are conditioned to filling out a form and somebody says, good job, and filling out a form and says, somebody, here comes the email to this. It's not a bad thing. No. We want that comfort, that assurance. And to your point, Shayna, to get us all the way through. And I just also want to clarify, when you were talking about the two of you with the slam dunk and the wine, just in case anybody was missing, you were the consumers in that situation.
Yep, that's
and
right.
Their sell process was so good. But when it came time, they took your money, then the execution process fell away.
Right.
That is when it fell off. And so, whether you happen to be really good at sales, or you're just so passionate you don't realize that you're a really good salesperson, because that's what it is. It's your passion that sells. By the way, that's selling, right? It is that next thing. And design is not typically inexpensive, like your $20,000 investment with the marketing firm. It's people. I don't care what it is. I don't care if every other thing is going to be an actual phone call. Somebody puts $20,000 into a credit card thing. They want somebody to say, thank you, we got your money.
Right.
Right?
And realistically, that comes to their internal processes, right?
Yeah.
There's a whole internal foundation
Yes.
we have to look at as well, right?
Yes.
And oftentimes as a solo, or maybe you're not a solo, but, even just honing down sourcing, and one of the most chaotic processes that there is. When you're a solo, so many things are just in your head. Why? Because organization slows you down. I've been there. I totally know it. I am one of the least organized people there probably is.
If she ever says, could you send me that Google Doc link again? I'm just gonna
oh my God, Shayna, you are so me.
Okay.
My team has to tag me in Monday every day.
Listen.
Here's the Voxer every day. I know it's somewhere in the drive. Could you just tag me and put it at the top of Monday?
Just freaking
I didn't want to go to the board on Monday and say, just please tag me.
Just freaking send it to me, okay? I know it exists, all right? I give you the templates. I tell you what to do.
Could have sworn I made a folder just so you could find it.
Yeah,
but I can't find the folder.
I can't find it. I can't freaking find the folder, all right? Unless I got, one of those back burner tasks is an admin will go in and clean up my drive one day, but I feel fear for them, like I fear for them. But, that's why you have a team, right? I know my strengths. I know my weaknesses. I know I can implement process, but the organizational side of things, not great. When I was a solo running my interior design business, an organized spreadsheet with a sourced document with literally, different tabs for chairs, beds, whatever, with a picture, a link, stocking information, sizing. What? No, it was screenshots on my phone that I'm just like trying to zip back to. It was chaos, right? But that is my process. I still do design projects, very low end, high scale still, but it's still my chaotic process. But what is my process? I screenshot from my phone, I email them to my admin, and they organize the entire spreadsheet for me. And
you sound like me.
That's what it is.
Exactly.
And
like
then
right.
I can streamline from that, and I say, okay, I've highlighted in green the products that I'd like you to put onto the presentation board with tags, and boom, now it's streamlined to the next point of delegation. You're good to go and create the design boards. We have to do that as business owners. If you're juggling 80 million things and you have 7 million avenues of business going on, you still need to run the ship, but there needs to be an internal operation that your team can live by. Whether that's a clipper, you're using a technology, every point from the start of that project all the way to installation, final photos, and reviews needs to be clarified exactly how it's happening and refined so you can use it as a tool to take you to the next step and not be doing things twice over to, delegate this big lengthy thing because you're not tying them into the prior piece that could just spend 2 minutes and push them forward.
It's very different to laugh about and have the reality of, I can't find it in the drive, but to know that the process is there and that you're following the process. And mostly for me, the reason I ask them to bring is so I don't screw the process up.
Yeah.
I will come up with systems all the time, but I'm not going to go into Monday or ClickUp and build those systems. No.
Yeah.
But I'll give you what I want to have happen, right? And so that's what I love. It's like, when you work with your executive team, you get that support of the sounding board, the experience that you have, Shayna, in understanding all the things that have to be done, and then Evelyn in building it and understanding that it has to be consumer ready and that we are designers, we are creatives, we want it to be beautiful. This is not the insurance industry, right? And so, because the thing is, this is the beginning of the journey of what I call, you guys have a good catchphrase for it too, but what I call is, not having a you and having a business, right? Because I could literally walk out of my business right now with the exception of the interview, right? And if somebody could come in and do an interview and you guys all were willing to listen to that person to do the interview, like every single thing is built out. Like there's no gray area. There must be a total of anywhere from 9 to 16 hours total labor attached to every single podcast recording that we do. I do 1 hour of it. It's the other hours are done by others, and those faces can change. Somebody can step out and step in, and we can interchange. And that's having a business and not a you. You guys describe it because you have a good way of describing it.
Yeah, we'll just say, are you truly a business owner or are you just self-employed? And I just remember when someone told Shayna early on in her business owner journey, oh, so you're just self-employed, and the hit to her ego, that doesn't feel good to hear. But I remember that and say that all the time now because of how, strong of a feeling that gave her. Yeah. Maybe you can,
I was at a C-suite network, one of those big networking events. You travel around. There I am in South Dakota, selected to do this big presentation in front of other CEOs, really feeling myself. I do this big presentation, truly, like, who am I? I was like 23 at the time, like, who the hell am I on this stage talking to these, quote unquote older, we'll just say, CEOs. And so I get after this podcast and this man approaches me and he's like, wow, great presentation. Again, really feeling myself. And he ends it with, but like, so you're just really self-employed. Like you're not a business at all. And I was so like, what? You
At that
know, like
moment to hear that
it,
had to be so
but
horrible.
he was so like looking
He
back
was.
now,
Yeah.
you know, like
He was
7
right.
years, he was so right. I had no processes. I had no foundation. I sold a ton of crap, you know, like selling all these things, you know, talking, selling, la la la. And then after he's like, yeah, so you're just self-employed. And it's like, you know what? You're so right. And if you're in this, whether you're an accidental business owner or an intentional business owner, we went into this seat because we didn't want to work for someone else. Working for someone else does cap you. You know, there's a ceiling,
Yes.
but also being self-employed, there's also a ceiling, you know?
Yes.
And
Yes.
so if we're not going to work on the foundation, and what are we doing it for? Are you just self-employed?
Right.
Do you want to build a business? Without foundation, you could never sell your business. What's the end goal
Right.
too? You know, people never
Right.
even think about this. You can't sell yourself. You can't like,
You know, it's funny because I remember this is going back probably to 2018, I want to say. I did a presentation at an NKBA leadership conference, and they asked me to keynote the conference. And I asked them for the demographics of the 450 people that they were expecting to be in the room. Because you know, if I'm going into a room and I'm speaking to business people who are in business 1 to 5 years, that's a different conversation. And it turned out of the 450 people expected to be in this room, more than 50% of them were in business 20 years or more. Okay. So I'm like, oh, okay, sweetie, this is a different conversation here. And what I hammered on was, do you have a you or do you have a business? Because I know my peers at 60 and 50 and 60 and 70 years old. Many of my peers have been the CEO in air quotes, but they have been the you their entire business. And despite reaching multiple millions in gross revenue or whatever it is, 2 team members, 20 team members, often there is no documentation, there are no defined processes, and therefore there is nothing to sell. And interestingly, I had the exact opposite thing happen. So I do this presentation, and unlike most design industry events, NKBA at the leadership level does have a fair share of men that are in their 50s, 60s, and 70s. And so I'm sitting here, you know, and I'm doing my LuAnn stuff. I'm like doing my crazy stuff and I'm making jokes, but I'm still delivering my message. You know what I mean? And I'm looking around the room as I'm doing it, and I'm thinking, I don't know if this is landing, and I don't know if these guys like hearing this, but this is the truth of it, right? And I had 2 individuals, both men in their mid to late 60s, separately over the next hour after the presentation was over, come up to me and say, you know, I have a you. I do not have a business. I've been in business 35 years. I keep deluding myself that I'm going to sell this business in the next 4 or 5 years, but I realize I don't have anything to sell. And so it was like the reverse aha, right? And it's like, but I think for those 2 particular gentlemen, and if 2 thought it, 20 others, if 2 said it, 20 others in the audience got the message. But I think that was probably as much of a stomach punch for them 3 and 4 decades in business to have created something of value and to actually have to be like, oh,
yeah,
like if I'm not here, no wheels turn.
right.
That's not a business. Right.
And I said this in the other podcast too. You can't plan for the unexpected. Right. And I shared my story in the last podcast. Like I was forced into needing a team. Right.
Yes.
I broke my pelvis. I couldn't walk for a year.
Oh my
I
God,
would have
remember.
never had my mindset in this delegation and needing a team. But here I am, you know, you never think you're going to get sick. You never think you're going to get injured. You never think that you're going down, and you never plan for it. And then through that process of needing it so quickly and not having it, so much money was lost. So much money was lost through quickly trying to get a team around me, making all the wrong hires, wrong decisions, which, I always say that journey was failing upwards. There's always something to learn out of everything, whether it didn't work out, even that $20,000 marketing investment.
I know.
We learned
it's painful, but
it's painful, but there were things to learn from it. $20,000 worth. Oh, that's a big lesson, but regardless.
You know what? I don't know any of us that doesn't have those though.
Right.
I really don't. I don't know any of us that doesn't have those 5-figure lessons. Let's call it, like, for real.
Right.
Like, whatever, however it comes. And what happens though is it makes you better. It's painful, but it makes you better, because now I can imagine anybody that you are interviewing for any type of services for your business. It's like, okay, that's a great load of sizzle. Let's see some steaks, sweetie, before I give you my money. Right? Like, because that's what it is. It's a lot of sizzle, and it's polished, and it's good, and it feels good. And it's funny because it's so funny because I had an opposite experience a few years back where this individual I had become acquainted with through other business owners, and I had gotten myself to the point where I thought, oh, this is my slam dunk. I am hiring this higher level executive person to come be a fractional person for my team, yada, yada. And through the referral, through the recommendation, how I'm already like, I don't even need to really interview. Do I? Right? Like, literally, like, big mistake number one. Right. But I did. But here was the opposite thing that happened. When it finally came to do the personal one-on-one presentation to me, also via Zoom, it was a 1-hour presentation. And I'm going to tell you what, I struggled to stay awake through the hour. And I struggled to find the relevance to the information that was shared in the presentation to what I thought I was getting. And when it was done, it was the hardest decision on a level, because I had gone in already sold. I was like, this is my savior. This is the thing. And I was just like, I can't hire somebody that the presentation is that bad. Right. And so that can happen with designers too. Someone can see a home that you've done. They can get referred to by, their best friend. And then you come in and you blow the presentation so bad. And if the price point is $500, maybe I'm like, all right. But when the price point is for design, 20, 40, 80, 60, 100, $1 million, like, you can't overcome it. You cannot overcome. Good design cannot be overcome by bad process. It cannot. No. It cannot. Right. You can fool somebody once, like they've fooled you once, but you can't fool somebody twice. No. And you don't get the referral, to your point, Shayna, right? Like, that's when you have the PPC down, and then you deliver on the promise, now that's where you build your business.
Now, then we shift our focus. And some people, again, we've bypassed this. So they need internal operation support stat. We're working on this simultaneously. And that's okay. We can backtrack. No big deal. If we can identify it and get it implemented, you're good. If you can do it from the start, you're going to be years ahead of your competition. And you do have to think about your competition, because odds are they're speaking to more than one designer on that call.
Well, why shouldn't they?
Right.
Come on.
Right. Exactly.
Do you think I built Window Works with my husband for 40 years and every person was like, you're the only person we're calling, Lou?
Right. Competition drives business, right? So you need to outperform your competitor and instill a greater level of confidence. Now, your talent and your skill and how you run that project will blow up your business. That's how your business is going to grow. But then we shift focus to the internal operations, right? Do it your way for however long, right? Until you max yourself and you are feeling like there are never enough hours in the day. Guess what? Time is for sale. You are ready to start delegating. And then we shine the lens on your internal processes. Then we start to put a team around you to support you. And there are a ton of mistakes in doing that. That's, again, your next growth marker.
And so that's where I want to take this now, because obviously any one of us can choose to do this on our own. We stop the train. we get organized. Maybe we just slow the train. We keep some income coming in. We get organized. Or while the train's running down the track at 65 miles an hour, we decide, all right, just this time I'm going to, refine my onboarding. This time I'm going to refine my procurement, whatever it is, however we do it. But the point is, the option is to do it ourselves. The option is to actually create the process and the documentation, hire somebody on our team. But that also is not always easy. And sometimes, rather than us trying to do a hiring process, us trying to do a training process, us trying to find the right support people in admin, in design, in marketing, because really the person who is good at admin is not going to be good at design. It's just like me and Shayna. Like, we can give you all the ideas in the world. We can see the big picture. We can organize you, but we can't find the darn file that we're supposed to explain from. like we just can't, right? So you need your admin to be in the weeds and detailed orientated. You need your marketing person to be creative and your design person to be creative. So that's also where 4D Biz comes in, because we don't have to figure out how to train a marketing assistant. We don't have to figure out how to train a design assistant or an admin assistant. And working with you guys as the executive team, we can identify the gaps, and then you can just put people in seats for us, right?
Right, exactly. And the reality is, you're never going to have one person, like you said, have all the strengths that you need. That was another massive, costly mistake I made on multiple ways. I hired the intern, I hired the low experience, I hired the massive experience, making all these commitments. No one is going to be your copywriter, your video editor, your graphic editor, your type A, super organized administrator who is going to not be bogged down by invoices, vendor follow-ups, purchase orders, order placement, order tracking, and also be super expedited in your CAD or SketchUp or Chief or Revit or whatever you're using for all your drawing types, all your rendering types, and your presentation boards. Good freaking luck. I tried it, doesn't work, tried to quote unquote save money thinking that I could do it that way, and it doesn't happen. There are three very specific people you need on your team that have three very different strengths that you need on your team. You need very little support from those three types of people inside of any given week, and the level of support ebbs and flows in any given week. Sometimes you need more admin. Sometimes you need more design. Sometimes you want to have a brochure done and throw a curveball into your recurring marketing strategy. Sometimes you sell more projects in one given month than the next. And how the heck are you catering to all of that? And that's where our fractional team of assistants jumps into play. But it also, does speak to how we help you in that delegation process, and why, how our onboarding and getting started with us works, and how that executive team can help on that foundation. But we're not going to just leave. We're going to stay by your side. When you're ready for those assistants, I'm going to be there on that admin and design call. Evelyn's going to be there with you on that marketing call with your dedicated assistant, refining the internal processes, because they are employees. They do need to be told what to do. Making sure that we have written documentation, or streamlining, because you're using 60 different technologies that we really only should be using 3 to 4. Come on, ladies, let's get it together. Just because, there was a sale, I've been there, 20% off Salesforce, I'll buy that. No human support, not a clue what it does. Now I've got all these million subscriptions going on. I was there from the start as well, but refine that and give yourself an internal process that you can thrive in and profit from all these hours that you are delegating to. So yes, we stick by you throughout the whole thing.
I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing about it is that executive team service that you have, and you've said it multiple times, it's you're saying set the foundation, and I'm hearing get organized. Get organized. Really, because I would tell you, it's a very rare interior design business owner that doesn't have a vision for their client journey. Most of them, right? Haven't you found that with your designers that you've worked with? Right? So I think sometimes designers are hard on themselves because it's not documented, and they'll hear the podcast and all this, hoo ha ha about a process and a system and all that, and then they imagine that it's more than it is. And, most business owners do have a through line, but that next level of documenting it, committing to it, automating it, and then delegating it.
Having it
That's
well represented in your contract, in your client
yes.
expectation documents, in the way that you're then running your project, in the way that you're delegating, just making sure that all of these moving parts are working together towards the same goal.
Yeah.
But you're right, it doesn't have to be as overwhelming as it might
Yeah.
sound.
And I would say, Evelyn, to that, a lot of times when people start working with us, they have gone through other programs, right? They've
Mm.
gone through a coaching program or something that's giving them all these templates, all these ideas, educating them. But the reality is, it's not your super strength to write copy. You could be the best
Ugh,
business owner in the world. It's not
yes.
mine. I don't write
No.
a single thing. It's like, Evelyn, here's the
Mm.
idea. Take it away. Number one, I'm not saying I can't do it, but it's going to take me 3 hours to do this one thing that she's going to fly through in like 45 minutes without
Right. Right.
exaggeration. And
Yeah.
so that's why we don't like to use the word coach. We like to use the word executive team, fractional
Right.
COO, fractional CMO, because we will actually do it for you. You could do it yourself as well. If that's the process, we'll give you all the coaching, the workflow, the templates, everything you need to do it yourself. But if you're the person who's either got no time, but your business
Yes.
has all the money and we're driving and you're just like, I need this, but I just need it all done for me. I do not have the time to create all this content. I do not have the time to fill in all these templates. Then that's where you
I do
have
not have the time
Evelyn.
to hire an assistant and train them on my process and, find that one unicorn that can do it all for me. That's what we're here to facilitate.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you know what it reminds me of? Like the concept of a bookkeeper, basically. Bookkeeper is a fractional person to watch your money, to move your money around and to put it in columns, right? A CPA is a fractional employee, right? And so it's that sort of level that a fractional COO is the person that's going to, if you hired a full-time COO for 150K to come in your business, that COO would meet with you as the owner of the business weekly, bi-weekly. You would download mentally all the vision, all the ideas you have for your business, and that COO would spend their time getting it all done. And then sit down with you and go, this is what I heard. This is what I built. Does this seem good for you? Right? It's like, that's what I'm visualizing. It's
Mhm.
that relationship at the executive level, whether it's the CMO services, the chief marketing officer services, or the chief operating officer services. And it's no different than our bookkeeper. We meet with our bookkeeper, we oversee our bookkeeper, we have conversations about what's happening, but the bookkeeper goes and does it. Like they go and do it.
Right.
Like
Right.
I'm not like, and you guys all know my mom is my bookkeeper, right? And so like I'm like that. I'm like taking the screenshot of the QuickBooks, taking a picture on my camera with my phone, then texting to her going, is that categorized right? Like, is that? And she'll be like, oh, you're right. I missed it, blah, blah, blah. Or she'll be like, no, we discussed this.
Right.
This is supposed to be there, right? But I'm not going in and changing it. It's like, that's her
Yeah.
domain.
And
Just
what I'd like to,
stay out.
yeah, and what I'd like to say too is, once your foundation is built, your executive level team is really not there or needed much.
No, now you reduce to an
Now,
hour a week, an hour a month,
maybe
whatever
an
it
hour a
is.
month in this industry, an
Right.
hour a month, maybe on your marketing side of things. Operationally, you really don't need anything if your
No, not
foundation is
once you
strong.
build it.
Once you get to your next growth marker, maybe yes, you're tapping back in.
Yes.
I'm growing. I need more support. I want to delegate this now. How do I streamline that? You're tapping back in. What's running the heart and soul of your business is that assistant team. That's what's running
Yes.
it. And the data shows, when you are fully operational and you are ready to integrate an admin and a designer and a marketing recurring strategy to your business, it is 8 hours a week that you need. That's it. That's the
8
data.
hours.
8 hours, all you need.
Yeah.
And sometimes you only need to start with one team. Sometimes
Right.
you really just need to, the administrative systems are bogging me down. I cannot. And you're just starting with that one admin team. Average of that is 3 hours a week of support that you need.
Yes.
Or
But
maybe,
it's like 3 hours of getting like a massage and like, the best meal ever, right? Like it's just like such a relief those
Right.
3 hours,
so
right?
much is getting done inside of 3 hours, right? If you never had to request pricing for a vendor, place an order,
Oh
track an
God.
order, right? Or it's also just the psychology of asking clients for more money coming from a different
Right.
person that's not you, right? Being
Right.
able to showcase yourself larger than you are. I say that all the time. You should be treating our team like your team. No one
Sure.
needs to know that this
Sure.
is the 4D Biz team. Oftentimes, our admins have admin emails from the client's company domain. They're managing a separate email because we tell them your client is to think that this is your full-time employee, right? That you have a
And it doesn't
payroll.
even have to be full-time or part-time. Like this is the person on your
Right.
team that handles this stuff.
Right. And they'll just
Like,
automatically think it's full time because they're on your
right.
team, right?
Right.
But
Right.
this is your person, right? Then when you have a designer and that person's integrated, now your team's even bigger. You have your marketing person, you have a fractional COO that when there's a client disaster can step in, right? Your
Yes.
team all of a sudden looks massive. You go to close a
Yes.
$50,000, $80,000 contract for a large developer. I've been on those calls before where a client's been like, I would like every person on this team on this closing call. And there's been 5 people on that call, right? Her contract was for 8 hours a week, literally. And on that
Yes.
call, the contractor was like, this is the most impressive call that I've had. Right? It was just, and it was
Wow.
comical. It's almost
Yes.
funny at that point because you're like,
Yeah.
okay, I could
Yeah.
see that, but it matters, right? Now, how she runs that internally is going to generate more projects from him, more referrals, but it was a close because her PPC
Right.
was strong, her team was strong, and now the relationship is continuing to build with him because she has a process that she can scale and delegate to within the month. Whether she needs that 8 hours or she needs more than 8 hours, she can scale up, and she knows confidently every single hour she delegates, she's making $100 off of.
Yeah.
That's what we
Yeah.
want.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it because any way that we can increase our efficiency and do it in a way that are like I said, I can tell you the path that I want somebody that's coming on the podcast to take. I can tell you the path that a sponsor should take on the podcast. I can tell you the path that a guest at a Power Talk Friday should take. I can tell you the path that I want a LuAnn University attendee to take, but I can't build it. I can't document it. I just don't have that. And so to have a company like you guys for designers that will sit and pull that information out and then sit by me and then create that system. And then actually, if I want now the support from your virtual assistant team to continue running those things, I mean, that's gold right there. That's absolute gold. Like if every industry had that, holy crow.
Yeah. One
right?
team, one umbrella, right? If you have
Yeah,
marketing,
yeah.
admin, design, a lot of times the admin team is supporting Evelyn in the marketing team. If there's deliverables she needs to collect, right? She's
Yes.
going to the admin and saying, okay, get her welcome packet, get the questionnaire, right? So her team isn't waiting. We all communicate.
Yes.
We work as a team.
Yes.
One umbrella
Awesome.
also helps facilitate that.
I love it. I love it. I mean, you guys, listen, you were on the podcast, like I said last year. You got a lot of feedback, a lot of designers, reached out. I got feedback that you guys were awesome. And so is there any final thing you'd like to add to this conversation? But I just think what you do is amazing and really valuable.
I would just love to say thank you to all of the designers who heard that first episode and came to us and trusted us and we're rocking with now. We love you guys.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Love you. We're constantly creating some free assets and deliverables to help you guys, set some goals, some financial goal setting. And we're constantly refining, developing not only our own technology, which we haven't even talked about, maybe another podcast to come. We'll talk about the technology. But we're learning from you guys every day at every growth marker that we get. And so we just love the community we're building. We're here to support you guys wherever you're at in your journey, wherever your investment may lie. We're going to help you make educated financial decisions on where you're at.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Shayna and Evelyn. It's always so much fun to talk to you guys and learn more about your business.
Yeah. Thank you so much, LuAnn.
Thank you so much, LuAnn, for having us.
All right, so they are super passionate about what they do, aren't they? And I love that they bring this passion, this level headedness, and expertise in areas where you and I, as creatives, may not always be able to, right? Not only do they knock it out of the park with their virtual assistant team services, which I have to say, you have to go back to listen to that episode to learn more about it. We will link it in the show notes. But now their executive team services catapult you to the next level. The way they work together and complement each other too. Evelyn acting as CMO and Shayna as COO is impressive. You have to respect and even giggle a little at their honesty and self-awareness. Shayna admits she's not the one to look for technical advice to. Nope, that's not her superpower. She also admits mistakes they have made in the past with outsourcing. All of this only helps to relate to them more, right? And if you aren't particularly technical or organized, I think it helps you relate to them even more. And that's why they work so well together. They combine their superpowers and you benefit. If you've never addressed the foundational part of your business, whether in business 1 year or 20, I can tell you it's never too late. And it's something that has to be done. If it's not ingrained in your head at this point from many of our previous shows, then hopefully Evelyn and Shayna have helped. Evelyn and Shayna say that your foundation should be automated through the entire sales process, from the discovery call to the close of the contract, what they call your pitch, presentation, and close. Not only that, but it should connect to your marketing efforts, in their opinion. I love this. Now, automated does not mean without human contact. Please don't mistake the two. Automated can mean digitally, that you're meeting and setting up appointments and all the different touch points, but you're still going to show up as a human and interact with your client because this is a luxury service and a luxury business, right? Now, it may sound like a lot, but Evelyn and Shayna work to get you set up and provide you with all the tools you need. Shayna handles everything from your point of view, and Evelyn handles everything from your consumer's point of view in regard to the marketing. And you may be thinking, okay, but do they just provide the same process to every single design firm owner that they work with? And the answer is no. It is no. As a fractional COO, Shayna understands that it's not one size fits all. She customizes each approach and process to your specific needs and skills. She's not just selling you something to plug into your business. She helps you build your system. And Evelyn makes sure everything Shayna sets up aligns with the marketing, and she ensures that from your consumer's point of view, things are lined up. In this crazy world of AI and technology, it might be scary to think about automating everything in your business. Evelyn understands. Actually, they both do. They understand your business is you, and you are human, so it needs to be and have a human-centric approach, not a robot, right? Once Evelyn shows you this, then you are good to go forever. Think about that. Consider how much easier it would be and how much time you would save not having to type the same emails over and over. See, this is the thing. The email template might be automated, like you might have it there, sitting in a thing. But at one point, you came up with the template. You came up with the words with their help for what it is. So that's the type of automation. That's one facet of it that we're talking about. Something that you do over and over and over again, you shouldn't start from scratch on. That's kind of it, right? And also think about it this way. With a solid foundation, now you have, of course, you already had the talent. You already had the skills, and now you have the confidence, right? You have the confidence that the business is being run well. And if that trifecta doesn't blow up your business, I'm not sure what, if anything, can, right? So as you grow, you will need to add or develop an assistant team, which 4D Biz will help you with as well. They will help you put people in the right seats and train them for the roles like marketing assistants or administrative assistants. Once you have your team together, they're not just like, okay, see you, bye, good luck. They stick around. Their fractional team of assistants is there to help you delegate, as well as Evelyn and Shayna to help you understand your your new roles and the roles of the people in your team so that you can all travel down the road together smoothly, right? And they have seen client after client, when you hire team members, when they are well trained and managed, your bank account goes up, not down. This is a truth in business. Okay, so if you listen to this episode and you've listened to the other episode, number 923, and you've thought to yourself, there's not enough time in the day, it's time to delegate, maybe Evelyn and Shayna are the next phone call you should make. Okay? I have to say thank you, Evelyn and Shayna, for joining me again. Everything that you two do, as well as your team, to help us have a solid process and foundation is so super valuable. Each of you working your superpowers enables designers to work in theirs and for them to be profitable. And for that, I say high five. And thank you for listening. I appreciate that you do show up. Decide to be excellent. Thank you for joining me today. This podcast is a production of LuAnn Nigara, Inc. If you want to know more about me, my books, or LuAnn University, go to LuAnnNigara.com. And if you are interested in having WindowWorks help you with your next window treatment or awning project in the New York, New Jersey metro area, go to WindowWorksNJ.com to learn more. Have an excellent day.